Hey, good morning, everyone. Who have we got here today? Can I just get some feedback on the sound and the video, make sure we're all good here? Let's see if this chat feed is working. Hey, good. Francine from London. How you going? All right, so we're on 3 continents at the moment. This is cool. And the sound is good, yes? So if I start talking, it's not going to be this silent movie. Okay, I can see you're all excited. That's good. Excited for the infinite. Let's get into it. All right, so preparing for the infinite. So it's 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 part of the approach as well, I think. So you got to bear in mind that when we get into this, it it's never ending. It is infinite. So there's no rush to get to any levels. And in fact, I encourage you not to rush anything and to take your time moving through the levels and clear it out. Clear everything out and get all the learnings from every little bits and all bits and pieces. So you don't have to backtrack and go over things um, you've already dealt with before. So, in my experience, and this is my experience that I'm sharing with you. So, bear in mind that there's no tried and true way for everyone. This is one of those things you have to figure out as you go um, for yourself. And I know that sounds cliche and everyone's saying that, but it really is important to develop your own style as you go through this and develop your own techniques and develop yourself with a group of people who are on the similar levels and have the same sort of attitude as you. So when you're going through these levels towards the infinite, um, when you get to when you've experienced the infinite, I don't know if you've experienced this before, but um, when you hit that ceiling and you pierce that veil and you go through, it can be really jarring and disorientating. Everyone goes into this going, "Yeah, I want it all. I want to be unlimited," and and all of a sudden, when you get there, it's like, "Holy shit!" This it's more than what I thought. It's so much more than what I thought. I don't know if I can handle it. And then, the natural reaction is to tense up with the fear of that and pull yourself out of it. And then, of course, it lets you out because it's a loving intelligence and doesn't want to freak you out. And then, you know, once you've had that taste, you want to get back into it. And so rather than do this hokey pokey with these levels, this experience, you want to prepare everything as much as you can, get yourself ready as much as you can, listen to as many stories of people that have been there and back, and give yourself as many options as you possibly can, because when you get in there, it's a bit like being out at sea. You want to be as prepared as possible just for whatever comes up and whatever goes wrong. You want to be able to deal with it as best you can in the moment. So this is why I started this training program, is to get into training for these levels. And I was watching a rock climbing tutorial yesterday, and this guy was talking about a good approach to take if you're getting into rock climbing. And he said, try as many gyms as you can, try as many routes as possible, get as many movements and grips and techniques into your body and your mind as quickly as you can. Because what happens is when you start out in this work, if this is a graph, going from 0 to the top experience and beyond, you start off as a beginner, there's pretty much whatever you're going to be doing is going to be exciting, and you're going to progress, and you're going to have all these massive changes going on. But as you get more and more advanced, it sort of plateaus, and it gets a lot more difficult to progress, or a lot more effort to progress, and because you've done so many things and achieved so many things and had so many experiences. So rather than me just sit here and talk and you guys just listen, what I would like to do is get you into some exercises where you can start to get a handle on some things. So I know a lot of you have been doing meditations where you're doing your channeling energy up and down your energy centers and getting those balanced, and that's really important. And then doing breathing exercises to get your energy up, and that's also important, to be able to move your energy up and change the frequency, and make those switches from beta to alpha to theta to delta into gamma, and in different combinations. But one of the most important things I think needs to be there is your ability to relax, especially when things get stressful or when you have an unknown experience. And these unknown experiences, I'm not just talking about, oh, that's a nice unknown experience. I'm talking about when that energy hits your brain and it rocks your world, and it gives you such a different experience from anything you've ever had before, that it causes you to reassess everything. And what I mean by that is, you may think that, whatever age you are, like I'm 40 now, and I've had lots of different experiences, and I got to the point where I thought, hey, I pretty much know what life's about to a large degree. I've been through a lot and I've understood a lot, and I sort of get a lot of how it operates, and I do. But sometimes you have an experience that switches your perception, inside out, and turns it on its head, and it can be quite shocking. And so when we're talking about going into the infinite, we're not just talking about going into, infinitely good stuff. We're talking about infinite everything. And your ability to relax through those moments is going to really, save your day sometimes. So the other thing is to be able to master your energy in terms of what frequency you're resting in, and projecting into your field. And so that will help you navigate through those, those tricky situations, those different levels of consciousness. And so you want to train in moving in and out of all these levels of consciousness. It's not just about going up the levels to the highest level. It's about, going up there, sure, and then being able to come down and then select the different frequencies that you want to be in and be able to jump from one to the other. Because I've also had the experience where I've been in a very high frequency and it's been wonderful, and then it's sublimely switched to a lower frequency and I didn't realize it. And like I've mentioned in other videos, when you're getting into this multiverse where multiple timelines exist, and we're talking on an infinite level, there's many timelines that look exactly the same, and you could spend a whole lifetime searching for the differences and still not find them, but you get a sensation in your emotions that something is off. And so being able to recognize that you've switched timelines and to be able to navigate your way out of there or into another one that's a bit more pleasant is a real skill. So let's do some exercises. I'm going to put you in and pull you out several times today in the time, and just give you a few tools, and then I'll put you in and then drop you in there, and you can stay in and float around and see what you experience. So I'm just going to play some music while I do this, and we're not going to go into a meditation as such, but I'm just going to put you in and out of different exercises. Is that clear? Is everyone still on board with that? Just check in with me on the chat if you are. Okay, cool. Okay, so just get comfortable. If you've got blindfolds, you can put them on. Sit back, relax, take a deep breath in and close your eyes. And just breathe and relax. Just breathe and relax and focus on nothing but your breathing. Rest your attention on your breathing. Pay attention to the rising and falling of your breath. And as you pay attention to the rising and falling of your breath, Notice that as you relax even deeper, that your breathing becomes slower, longer, deeper, and more relaxed. How relaxed can you become? How good does it feel to breathe deeply? Good. Now come back, open your eyes, come back to your body. How did that feel? And so, yeah, okay, so you already encountered the first problem. So this is the interesting thing, is that when you start to get into uh, changing your energy, cool. Um, there's part of the there's part of the personality that knows that something's up and things are about to change, and it doesn't really know what it means for that change to happen because it can't see into those infinite timelines. And so little things are going to pop up. Things are going to pop up to prevent you from going into those places. Um, Things are going to pop up to distract you. Things are going to pop up to be cleaned and sorted out. And so when people first begin, and it still happens to me, and I meditate regularly, like not always every day, but um, I'm kind of meditating all the time. Eyes open, trancing out, listening to my mind moving music, imagining my future while I'm walking down the street. I'm always in some kind of playing with some kind of altered state. Um, and so when you're getting into this meditation, especially as a beginner, and even through the advanced levels, what happens is that as you relax and your mind starts to switch into a different frequency, um, what's going to happen is all those neurons and neural nets that either have been running in the background outside your awareness, or old ones that have sort of been lying there dormant and not really doing anything, they're going to start lighting up because new energy is going through the brain. And so then you're going to have to start cleaning house. That's what it wants to do. It wants to clean up everything you've put to the side, everything you've ignored, everything you've suppressed. All that's going to start to rise up and start to be checked out, and you're going to have a stock take going on inside your own mind and inside the body. Because remember, the mind and the body aren't separate; they're one thing. And so you're going to be tuning in everything, and this is coming from an infinite mind perspective. So it's going to do it in ways that you're not prepared for, or you're not, expecting, um, because we're getting prepared to go into the unknown. And so, like we've heard before, when you're in the unknown, it's unknown to you. You've never experienced that before. So, how do you prepare for something that you've never experienced before? And so, the basic answer is we have to make a lot of room for um, for this unknown to come in, and for us to respond in whatever ways. And so if we were looking at a metaphor to understand this a little bit better, and my background's in martial arts, so let's use the example of martial arts. If you're going into an unknown experience, which is typically a bout or a fight, or some kind of stressful situation where you're going to have to fight or defend yourself, you can't predict that interaction. You can't predict that engagement. You can't predict combat that accurately, unless you're really tuned in to yourself and you can read people really, really well. And so how do you get tuned into yourself? Well, you need to be, you need to have a few attributes that are just standard, no matter who you're fighting or what style it is or what kind of environment. And those are, fitness, flexibility, strength, and technique. And if you've got those things, yeah, and a really focused mind, then you've got what they call the fist of fury. So if we're going to go into the unknown, a few things we're going to have to have is focus, relaxation, the ability to change our energy, the ability to deal with stress. And when I say stress, I'm not talking about work stress. I'm talking about the stress of, I think it was mentioned, they called it eustress, which is like the stress that causes you to change, the stress that on an evolutionary scale will cause mutation. All right, so we have to have the ability to deal with that kind of stress, the stress of change, and also the ability to adapt and recover from those changes. So when you're doing it, this is not just about doing the meditations. This is about when you come out and your brain has changed and your energy is shifted. How do you deal with that shift in your life? And that's something that really, it doesn't get addressed that much. And so when you're making these changes and you're cleaning house and your brain's rewiring, remember, consciousness and energy is coming in through the brain, and based on the configuration of the brain and the mind, it's going to project that energy out into your reality. And then the brain is going to perceive what it's projected based on how it's configured. And so if you're going through these changes and your brain's changing, then it's going to project something new into your field, and it's going to perceive it in an entirely new way. And that's going to be unfamiliar from the old mind that you sat down with before that change. And then you're going to have to deal with that adaptation. So another way of looking at it is, if we're going into talking about the body going through transformation, and we've seen this all over, from social media, where people are going into the gym and they're changing their physiology to, be more aesthetically pleasing or stronger or healthier or whatever it is. When you go into it, a lot of people go in with a goal of losing weight, or, fitting into that outfit, or, hitting a certain fitness goal. And so they'll push themselves really, really hard to get to a particular level. And there's a lot of pain that is associated with it. The body's changing very rapidly, having to adapt really quickly. And that's why we've seen on shows like The Biggest Loser, where, you know, people hit these milestones where they have this massive emotional release. And so all that energy that's trapped in the body and in the mind from the past experiences starts to get shaken up and escapes into the field and manifests itself out there, and also uh, changes go through the body, and then you experience different emotions. And so we know this is going to happen. We know that we're going to come up against the edges of our experience, edges of our mind, edges of our limits. And, you know, we're going to have to deal with that. That's part of the process. So, yeah, when you freak out, okay, and and just know that that's going to happen, and it happens to the best of us, and that's part of what's meant to happen. And the real skill is in how we deal with that. So it might be little things like, you know, as you sit down and you get into this, your internet's going to be all glitchy, or there's going to be something to give you the option to bail out. Okay. And that's okay. You know, if you're not ready for these moments, that's cool. Then you take a note and you say, okay, this is where the edge was. And, you know, I'll come back to that when I'm more prepared. Or you can go, you know what, I can overcome that. I've got the skills to deal with that. And we just press on a little bit further. So now we're going to do another exercise. So is that making sense so far? Usually I don't need to ask for feedback as much because I can see the people I'm talking to, but this is a little bit of a different format for me. So if you guys can just text me on the chat line and let me know what's going on, that would be really helpful. And let's just open it up for a question or two for the moment before we get to another exercise, if you have one. No questions? Okay. Okay, cool. So, um, so I'm going to play the music again. And this time, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to breathe and relax. You're going to go as deep as you can, as quickly as you can. Um, don't push it though, right? Just go to your level and then sit at the level and then just stay there. And I want you to pay attention to all the stuff that's coming up in your mind, all the sensations that's coming up in your body. And you're not going to do anything with them yet. You're just going to allow them to be there. And just like, you know, we have this chat feed, you're going to just allow things to get listed. And then just observe them, and then observe as you're breathing and relaxing and you allow yourself to slip even deeper. You're going to hopefully feel a switch in your frequency. And this is where, you know, you'll start nodding, or, you know, you'll lose your awareness of your surroundings or time or space or your body, or you'll not quite hear what's going on, or you're not paying attention. So there'll be a switch there, and you'll move into a new phase. And then you're going to bring your attention back to the list again and see if anything's different or if it's moved on. And you're going to just, it's almost like you're going to look back at where you were and see if there's any progression at all. And then I'm just going to bring you straight back out. Okay, I'm just going to kick you out really quickly. I'm going to come back and then we'll go again. Does that make sense? All right, here we go. All right, so just breathe and relax. I don't want to lead you too much. I want you to be able to do this yourself. Use the music as a baseline to rest your awareness on. And breathe and relax. And sink your awareness deep down inside. And find your level. When you've found your level, just hold your focus there. Breathing, relaxing, and direct your attention to the inner workings of your mind. Breathe and relax, and become aware of all the images, the sensations, and the memories that come to mind. Take note of all the distractions, the interruptions, all the emotions that seem to get in your way. And just move them out, gently away from you. Into the space in front of you. To a distance. Where you can feel comfortable, calm, and continue to relax. And when an emotion arises for you, just breathe deeply and release its charge. Blow all the tension away. And go back to relaxing and breathing. You can do this as often as you need to, as many times as you like. Focus now on one of those emotionally charged memories. And instead of trying to hold it down with your energy like a beach ball below the surface of the water, struggling and hoping that it doesn't bounce up and splash you in the face, gently release the pressure. Open the valve and allow that tension to just bleed out. Until eventually all the tension is released and the beach ball, without any air, can just float on the surface. Release the charge gently. Take your time. Good. All right, come back. Bring your attention and your awareness all the way back. Take a nice clearing breath and just reset your energy and realign yourself. So that was a quick example of going into something that is, seemingly in the way, and then releasing some charge and then coming back and realigning. And it's just a quick little example with one of those emotions, hopefully not a too big a one to begin with. But you can do this repeatedly over and over again on several different blocks of emotion or memory or thought. And then you can also do this with really big emotionally charged memories, and sometimes they take a lot longer to get through, but this is one little exercise you can do to prepare yourself for the meditation that you want to be doing. So just a little bit of feedback would be great. How was that? Bear in mind there is a little bit of a delay here. I think it's about 7 seconds. So if you see me staring at the screen, it's because of the time delay. So just a little bit of feedback would be really good about that last exercise. And Francine, are you still with us? Or is the internet preventing you from participating? Good. Excellent, Abel. Okay. And Francine, you still there? What does that mean? No way, mate. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, so now the other thing is when you're getting into these higher amplitudes, when this energy starts coming through. Okay, cool. When you get into these deeper states, the amplitude of energy is going to be much, much higher. It's going to start to light up your brain, um, the whole brain, and you're going to start to slip into different frequencies, alpha, theta, delta, gamma, and different combinations and different amplitudes and um, we different levels of those frequencies. And so training your mind into these different frequencies is really useful. I spent a lot of time going on the internet, getting into binary beats and hemisync tracks and all that sort of stuff, and training my mind into states like alpha and theta, um, going into deep delta, especially when it came to recovery, was really good to give the body that chance to go really deep and repair, as well as the mind. And of course, the state everyone wants to get to, gamma, where all the magic happens and you become very lucid. And so I touched on this earlier, and at first it's kind of, you're not sure what these states feel like, and typically you don't really train in these states, but you're going in and out of these states all the time. During sleep you're going in and out of theta and delta, and sometimes even into alpha, um, and it's just a normal cycle. Your brain's already doing this constantly, but to do it with precision and to do it on command is a different skill altogether. And so I really encourage you to uh, practice just tuning into certain frequencies and locking those in and really understanding how they feel and what experiences that they will produce for you. Um, so for me, I like to do a lot of testing. I'm not one of those people that just can, blindly follow and believe and accept. I do to a certain degree, especially when I'm in the student role. I will really put myself and immerse myself in whatever's being taught. But ultimately, I've got the observer looking at the whole thing, going, how effective is this? Is this working? Um, is there shortcuts here that aren't going to dilute the quality of the experience? All these questions start to come to mind, and I, I, I don't obsess over them, but I go deeply into trying to find the answers, and I do a lot of research. So, like I said before, this is my experience. So make sure you do your research, because um, cool. Um, make sure you're doing your research, because not only is it going to verify, um, what you already know at a deeper level, but it's going to open you up to all sorts of new techniques and new potentials that you weren't consciously aware of. It's a good practice to get into, and this is another part of the preparation: is to research everything, that you're interested in, and even things that you're not so interested in but relate to what you're doing. So, an example of this is I have an interest in the practice of freediving, or the discipline of freediving, the sport, whatever you want to call it. And, basically it's single breath diving deeply as you can, holding that breath, going through, as deep as you can go, through the different atmospheres. There's all these different pressures when you get down to certain depths. You have all this stuff going on inside you that either is in equilibrium or is not. And one thing I love about freediving is you can't force yourself to progress. It's something that you have to be ready for, to go to those depths, and you have to be prepared for to hold your breath longer. Because if you force it, it can be dangerous and knock yourself out. You can drown. You can have all these bad experiences. So it's really it's a great metaphor for this kind of practice, from my perspective at least, is that when you find your levels, is to do those exercises, like I said, to clean house, to understand what you're going through, to adapt to it, go through that adaptation phase, and then get everything nice and level and equalized again. And then when you're ready, then you can take the next level on, um, gently. Because when we get to these higher states of consciousness, um, we want it to feel normal. So we don't want to be stressing out to hold that frequency. It's not like in the Hollywood movies, like you get to that level, like holding on to that frequency. It's more like when you get there, you want it to be very casual, very normal. You want to be relaxed, and you want to have access to all of those things that are available at that frequency. And so um, this is making sense, I'm assuming, because you guys are pretty switched on. And so while you guys are dealing with the delay and giving me feedback as we go, just want you to realize that um, it's very real that when you make these changes, that your reality outside of your body, and that includes other people, that includes your the space where you live and work, that'll include the weather, that'll include the elements, it'll include um, your appliances and your vehicles and the society around you, the news. Everything is going to reflect your current state, even at a very, very sublime level. And so sometimes when we hit that wall, and we're wrestling with trying to get to that next vista, that next clearing, that next atmosphere, that next level of consciousness, we're going to be presented with a reflection of ourselves. And it's not going to be, an absolute mirror. It's going to be very symbolic, very subtle, very sublime, almost like, those conspiracy theory videos where, you know, um, there's product placement in the frame and stuff like that. And it's all there, leaving you little clues. And deciphering that and decoding that in your reality is going to be key in expanding your consciousness to perceive and see more of what's actually available to you. Because when you get to these higher levels, these altered states, you're not the distinction between you and your environment is going to become very, very thin, like almost like thickness of a bubble. Okay. And I've had moments where that bubble's popped and it's all just, everything's become one thing. And this is eyes open, walking down the street type of experience. And it can be very, it can be very eye opening, let's put it that way, to say the least. But it definitely takes a lot of, um, it took a few days at least just to, regroup and go, okay, well, what the hell did that mean? And what do I do with that? And so, um, just want you, if you haven't had this experience already, um, naturally, it's coming. And so these little exercises are going to get you prepared for that sort of thing. So now let's go back in. I'm going to leave you in a bit longer, and I'm just going to start giving you little cues to start to pay attention to things inside. Now, your goal here is just to relax and just to go gently deeper and deeper and lean into the edge and see just how far you can go with minimal effort. Okay, just use the weight of your current personality to get to that edge. And then you're going to do some assessing like we did. And then we're going to go beyond that and maybe do 2 sets of that. And then we're going to open you up to a new level of mind. And then you're just going to sort of sit there and be patient like a spear fisherman, waiting for that fish to come by. And if the fish comes by, great, you take your shot and you bring back that information with you, come back to the surface. And if nothing's there, then that's all right. Just enjoy the dive, enjoy the view, feel what it feels like to be in that ocean, and then come back. And then I think, we'll pretty much be done. We'll open it up to some questions if you have any, and then we'll finish up. How does that sound? All right, so let's get into it. Eyes closed, blindfolds on if you have them. Breathe, relax. Focus your energy. On a higher frequency. And take a dive with me deep inside your mind. Relax your mind. Relax your body. Relax your energy. Find your level. And when you do, tune in to that higher frequency. And allow it to reveal itself to you. Move it into a viewing space that feels comfortable for you, where you can gain perspective and maybe see it from another angle. Can you see why it's there? What use it has for you? Breathe and relax into it. Gently releasing the charge connected to it. Little by little, bit by bit. Moment after moment. And move on to the next. Take a deep breath in and out, and release any tension you may be feeling inside your body. Keep breathing and releasing. As you clear your memories and emotions. And if you're ready, it's time to go deeper. Go deeper now. Find your new level. Rest your awareness at this new level. At this new frequency. And open up your mind and allow yourself to receive be patient. Let it come to you. come. Come back now. Bring your attention back now. Bring all the learnings with you. Back to your body. Back to this time. Back to this space. back to this place. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, move your body around. Take some breaths. Take a moment to reorientate yourself. Allow your body and your brain to reconfigure. And when you can, we'll open it up to some questions, or you can tell me what you experienced. Make sure you've come back. Are you back? That's good. Is this this energy, a lot of energy moving? Is this a new experience or similar to what you've had before, or if it was different, how was it different? Good, you're back. Good. We're all here. Didn't leave anyone behind. How did that feel? Good. Okay, so that's the that's the whole point, is that we don't want to be doing this with effort. We want it to come easily and effortlessly. And so, okay, yeah, kids come up a lot, don't they? Is that because you you worry about them a lot, or because you just love them a lot, or a bit of both? So obviously, you've got a lot of your mind on your children, which is a good thing, I think. And so, yeah, this energy now is moving. We want it to, when we start to clear the pathways and start to remove the short circuits, and to reconfigure the mind, in ways that are more useful to us. And then it's a lot easier to achieve these states. Um, Once you've achieved the state and you know what it feels like and what it's about, um, just got this pop-up come up, which is really annoying. Okay. Once you've achieved this state, um, then it's about achieving it again and again, and then making it easier and easier and easier until it becomes normal, until you can just do it on command, switch it on, switch it off, move in, move out. Because, you know, the misconception is that you're going to want to be in this state all the time. Um, and it's a bit like people who love running, who get in that zone while they're running. It feels great when you're in it, but like what I said earlier, you know, we're preparing for the infinite here. So if you had to, even if you love that feeling, if you couldn't stop running, then after a very short period of time, in terms of no time, infinite time, um, it could become, you know, it could become really a terrible experience. So we want to be able to not just switch it on, but switch it off. So going in and coming out, diving down, kicking out, you know, I drill this a lot all the time. You know, it's like that the soldier that sleeps with one eye open and hears the sound and you can just wake up. You want to be able to train your body and your mind to go into these states, stay in them for, you know, extended periods of time or just brief periods of time. And you want to train all these aspects, the dive, the body, you know, and the kick. You want to train this in and out continuously. You know, how quickly can you do the dive? How long can you do the dive? How long can you stay down under? How long, you know, does it take for you to do your kick? Can you do it slowly? Can you do it fast? Can you do it in all these different areas? So this is another reason why I made the meditations in pieces, is so you could make playlists with the dive and the body and the kick and the extended music, and you could make your own patterns to be able to train into. So that was the reason for that. Do you have any other questions before we wrap up? And just while you're doing that, I just want to remind you about next week we'll get into simulation theory and how, you know, that theory is either useful or not useful. It's not about whether it's true or not. It's just about whether it's a useful thing to have in your lexicon and in your training, and how you can make use of the simulation theory idea to start giving you more access to your reality. Okay, no questions. Good. How about you, Francine? No worries, Abel. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here. And Francine, it's past your bedtime, so I guess we'll be saying good night. Maybe she's already off to bed. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up here, guys. Thanks very much for coming. I appreciate you tuning in and participating in my level of reality. And hope to see you all next week. You know the drill. If you think others are going to benefit from this, bring them along, share the links, get them in, and let's grow this group and get further and further out into that unknown space. Thanks, guys, again, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.